Thank you very much, John. Great overview, great slides. Great to see some of the information and places to follow up. In closing, as we get ready to wrap, I know some of you were at various tables, had some great conversations going, and we were going to take a moment and ask someone at a few of the tables to maybe share either the theme at their table that was talked quite a bit about, maybe a best practice, or something that came out that was noteworthy at the tables. We're going to do that very quickly, but knowing some of you were deep in conversations at a table, there was really good dialogue going around the room, so it might be good to kind of do a quick sort of USA Today wrap on that before we adjourn with lunch. So my good man Sam has the microphone, and I can tell that Leslie at table 4 is dying to say something. I can see Andy Moore jumping up and down to say something at table 6. And Sundhu's ready to go, I know. So, and this can be just if you could summarize a key point or maybe an interest for follow-up that the table got into deeper conversation about.
Thanks, Mark.
This was unrehearsed.
We were discussing the challenges around managing the contract workforce, which is ever growing and expanding in government and actually in commercial industry as well. Those problems aren't unique to government. And I think it was a very lively discussion on the nature of those challenges and how there might be tools to help manage them.
Thank you. Thanks, Leslie. Anybody dying to get up? Test the microphone out. All right, table 9. Nice, Jason Hurd.
So we talked about challenges of working with data. And basically the big thing that came away is that people need access to the data when they need it, and we need to break down the data silos within organizations and within their commands.
Thank you. All right, we got table 13 first. Couple jump. Oh, okay, we'll hold Big Tom. Oh, I didn't see Tom. All right, Tom's on deck.
Sorry about the pillar there. So here I think we had pretty good conversations about intelligent enterprise and specifically around how does this apply in terms of change for both small and bigger agencies? I mean, is it easier for smaller agencies versus the bigger agencies? What are the big factors that need to be taken into considerations? Because, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of that big change versus step change? Then there was also a lot of good questions around how does the intelligent enterprise take advantage of the tools, not only for the products itself, but also how does it extend to customizations? How can customizations also use the same tools for embedding the intelligence in there, in those workflows? So those were some certain quick questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do I need to turn this on?
Okay.
Okay. So
Go ahead.
we spent some time talking about NewPay and the challenges around bringing a new payroll system into the environments that you all deal with and making sure that the end result is accurate and all the paths that have to go into getting to that accurate level data.
Thanks. Thank you, Tom. Sundhu, front and center. Had the most people at his table. Just can't wait to hear this.
We actually put a sold out. So there were like really 2 or 3 key things that came up. Some common denominators were, data transparency. How can, some of these agencies share relevant data with each other, quality data, thereby making citizens, services to the citizens more efficient. So that was one. And then back to the keynote, wonderful keynote message this morning. So there was a lot of emphasis around how can we harness data from the standpoint of automating some of the repetitive tasks. Basically 80% of the tasks that people spend is more towards assimilating and preparing the data, and 20% goes towards the actual analysis, and how can we kind of flip that around. And lastly, how real-time access to data can actually help with, curing or sometimes preventing even crisis management. So those were some of the common denominators.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Umit Shah, jumping up and down to say something.
Thank you. So at table 10, we had a very healthy conversation, mostly around data, and talking about data as being, it's there. It's in the ERP systems, but how to bring it out, how to prototype it, faster ways of actually looking at data and bring out outcomes for it as well too. And, just walking through challenges on how to do prototyping, right? So 2 years to procurement, 2 years to implement. How do we bring that down and make it quicker? And then a couple other things was on interagency collaboration, right? So in the private sector, you don't really do, software companies or just chemical companies don't really talk to each other. But in the government agencies, you can talk to each other, and how can we do that, right? And move the needle a little bit further with blockchain and activities of that nature.
Nice. Thank you. Table 12.
Yeah, the discussion here was around the practicality of bringing a lot of financial information together and what other customers are doing. And very specifically, the key takeaway from our discussion here was we can talk a lot about various capabilities, but we really have to look at it from the window of requirements for the agency and the customers. So what comes in the way of bringing a lot of information in, seems to be there's some complexity that comes with it if it's all in one area, and the ability to sort of respond to different things quickly is hampered. But Central Finance answers some of those questions when we put it in the context of requirements. So it was a practical discussion from our team here, Meena and the CACI team. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Raj. Thank you. Maybe time for one last one if there's anybody want to put a wrap? Table 1's going to bring it home. Thank you, Bobby.
So we talked about experience matters. And what we heard from the group at the table was that really listening was probably the most important thing and the most important place to start. And then being able to understand personas, because across the group here, we had where people had customers who are internal customers, as well as folks who had external citizen-facing customers, and really being able to realize and appreciate that the same things are important, regardless of whether you're talking about them. And I guess the last wrap on that is the importance of understanding the why. So with all the systems that the people in this room are using, you have an incredible amount of operational data. So being able to bring that together from an experience perspective and understand not only what happened, but why, that's where I think some folks at the table got some ideas about how to go back and apply some of those things in their environment.
Thank you. Thank you, Table 1. All right, well, thank you, everybody. A couple quick closing thoughts before lunch. You'll be getting a survey. We'll love your feedback. So when you get that, if you can provide input, always want to keep making improvements. So thank you. Thank you for coming out. Each of you making time to do this. Thank you for our speakers. A few of them are still here, and great appreciation for the content they brought and the dialogue. Thanks to the moderators and everybody participating in the tables. Thanks to our sponsors again, AWS, Carahsoft, and HP. And on behalf of SAP, thanks for everybody coming. Please stick around, enjoy lunch, and continue networking. Thank you.